Imagine you're coming home late from work one night and you're pretty excited because you have the house to yourself. The kids are at a friend's house, your husband's away at a golf trip. You have been looking forward to kicking back and watching what you want to watch and not having to worry about anyone else. And as you pull into the driveway, you look up and you notice that your front door is slightly ajar, just ever so slightly open. And you think to yourself, well, that's weird. I was the last one out and I locked the door. And your brain starts to race, right? Someone's in my house. Oh my God, someone's in my house. Oh my God, someone broke into my house. And your heart rate starts to increase. Your breathing becomes shallow. You get that damp, clampy sort of feeling in your hands. The hair on the back of your neck starts to stand up. And you think, someone's in the house. Someone broke into my house. What if they have a gun? What if they try to kill me? Like you just start to, you spiraling. And even if in this moment you were to like go to your neighbor's house and be like, I think someone broke into my house, and you go get help, even then you come back to the house and all of a sudden you start to feel it again, that panic sensation of, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Someone's going to kill me. Like, what's going to happen? Someone broke into my house. And as you come through the door, you hear a faint noise and you can't quite place it. What is that noise? Your brain is just racing. Someone's in the house. Someone's in the house. Someone's in the house. And all of a sudden you click in and you're like, that's the PlayStation. Now you're thinking, someone broke into my house and is playing PlayStation. And all of a sudden, around the corner, your son comes. He says, hey, Mom, I decided not to go to Brett's house. I'm just grabbing a Coke. I'm going back downstairs. And you think, oh my God, my son came home and he left the door open. Oh, and your breathing starts to get a little bit better. Your heart rate starts to calm down, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought I was going to die, and it was just my son, and I'm going to have to talk to him about shutting the door when he gets home. That feeling, that panic, that, oh my God, I'm going to die. I didn't die. That, my friends, is what your fearful dog goes through all the time. It's what living in survival feels like to your fearful or your unconfident dog. And so today I thought that we would take a trip deep into the mind of your fearful dog so that you can come at a training plan, a protocol that comes from a place of understanding and not necessarily a place of frustration, right? If you know, you know. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get into it. Are you worried that your fearful dog may hurt someone or something else? Do you have to prepare just to take a walk around the block? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I too had that dog. The one that you could only walk at nighttime when no one else was around. And I felt ashamed, and oh gosh, I wish that people could just see the dog that I know and love. I wanted the confidence to be able to walk my dog and not have to worry about who or what was around the corner. And I kept telling myself that if I just keep doing obedience drills and distracting with treats, that things would get better. Until I found the secret. Fear is not something that you can train out of a dog. In this podcast, you will find tips to help build your dog's confidence naturally, communication and understanding to foster that trust, and how to address those fear-based behaviors effectively so that you can enjoy a stress-free life with your dog. So if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners, grab your notebook, and let's get to it. Well, hello there, my dog-loving friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience. Super glad that you are here. Hey, have you heard me use that analogy before? Have you heard that before? The house analogy? And if you have, are you like me? And every time you hear it, you're like, oh, I would also be mad that you left the door open because the dog can get out. That's a true dog lover response. Don't leave the door open. The dog can escape. Anyway, I know that I have spoke about this before, but it's worth repeating, getting into the mind of the fearful dog. Why? Because it really, truly does help for us to really grasp and understand how the fearful mind works, because it allows us to not just train the dog, not just, come up with training protocols and all that stuff, but it actually allows us to connect with the dog, to understand the dog. As my friend and mentor Nelson always says, he doesn't want to teach a dog, he wants to reach a dog. And I love that. I strive for that every single day. And you want to know something? Once you reach a dog, everything else just gets easier. Now, part of me is doing this topic again because a good friend, Sarah, reached out via email. We're pen pals and all. And she asked, hey, how can I apply this to actually work with my dog? I've heard you say that the dog has to have the OMG, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, and then the I didn't die moment. But what does that look like tactically? How can I help my dog do that? And that is a great question. And I'm actually going to give you my protocol for how I help support my dogs through fear of inanimate objects. I want to be clear. These are objects that aren't actually threats. Okay. We're not talking about fear of dogs or fear of people. That is far too nuanced for me to sort of give you an overarching, this is how I do it. But if you have a dog that is fearful of stuff or things that don't move, that aren't really threats, then this is a great way to practice allowing your dog to go through the fear cycle, come out the other side, be the hero, and you are just the guide that helped them get there. That's the goal. You don't want to steal their thunder. You want to let them have that win. So I'm going to today break down exactly what I do, fear of inanimate objects. This is actually taken straight from my Fearful Dog Fearless Framework program. So you're getting a sneak peek. You're getting an inside look, Sarah. I'm doing this for you. So there you go. All right. So let's take a look at it a little bit more. So in case you're new or this is the first time you're hearing this concept, we talk about fear as a cycle. Fear as a cycle that the dog has to go through. And all dogs, whether or not they're confident or unconfident, if they have a fearful stimulus, generally speaking, will go through this natural approach and retreat cycle. This is taken from my work that I did in natural horsemanship, working with horses. I got to witness this cycle firsthand from the masters of this cycle. Prey are literally the masters of this cycle. And your fearful dog in the moment of a fearful stimulus is acting like prey. So we can use what we've learned through our prey friends, to help us help our dogs. And actually, now that I'm thinking of it, a few weeks ago, I was in the field with the horses and there was deer up there. And I actually snapped a video. Somebody remind me, send me a message and remind me to put the video up in the Living Beyond Obedience Facebook group. That's a free Facebook group. If you're not in it, you should be. But I will put it there because it was a great example of approach and retreat from deer. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into this. So what we want the dogs to do is to naturally go through this process of, oh my God, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, and then get to the, I didn't die moment where they can go, that thing didn't kill me. That thing didn't eat me. And then they get to life layer that. They get to categorize that in their brain. We take them back home after that. They get to sit back and go, oh my gosh, that thing didn't kill me. It becomes now part of their repertoire of things that they know. And that's why it's so important. So if you have a dog that's fearful of inanimate objects, here's what I want you to do. Now we're assuming that your dog is on a leash. Okay. This does not work the same if the dog isn't on the leash. I mean, it can if you're in a small enclosed area. You could still sort of go through the process. But let's pretend for this particular circumstance, you're out on a walk, and let's say, it's a good example because Halloween's just around the corner. Halloween's today. Halloween is today. It's a great example. Halloween's today. So, you can tell I'm so out of the loop when it comes to what day of the week it is. So it's Halloween. Your neighbors have put up decorations. There's I don't know, a grave site or something. They put the little gravestones on there that say RIP, whatever. And your dog goes, oh my gosh, that's a new scary thing. And they freak out and they run to the back of their leash. They back up all the way to the back of their leash. And that's where the cycle starts. So what are you going to do? First step, you're just going to stand there. Now, when we're standing here, we're actually going to try to support our dogs without coddling, without bribing, but just with our intent. So if I have a dog that freaks out at something, the first thing that I do is I face the scary thing. By me facing the scary thing, I'm at first saying, okay, I'm going to check it out, right? Then I'm going to intentionally bend a knee. I know this is going to get really visceral. You're going to be like, wow, we're really getting into this. Yes, we are. I'm going to bend a knee. Why do I bend a knee? I'm going to bend a knee because bending my knee means that I am not at all worried about this. I'm actually kind of relaxed about it. This thing, I saw it. It's not really that big of a deal. And in my head, I'm going to say things to myself like, that's interesting. If you have to talk, then you can say it out loud, but say it quietly to yourself like, that's interesting. And then I'm going to take a deep breath and then I'm just going to look at it and maybe tilt my head a little bit like, I wonder what that is. And by saying things like, I wonder what that is, we're creating curiosity. And believe it or not, even though your dog might be behind you, they're picking up your vibe. I'm telling you. What we're waiting for is for your dog to start the cycle. And the cycle usually looks like the nose will go first, right? I'm always looking for that nose to go first because they're going to pick up scent, like what's happening, what's going on here, right? So their nose starts to go, maybe they take a couple of steps forward and then they take a couple of steps right back and then they sit back. Then they might come up behind you and look around your leg or look at the thing and then they take a couple of steps back. You're going to wait for this process to carry on until the dog passes you and gets closer to the object. Once this happens, I'm going to take the smallest step forward. The reason for that is because as this process continues, approach and retreat, the dog goes right back to the end and gets to the end of the leash. Technically, we're still moving forward, but I don't want to make a big step. I just want it to be subtle. I don't want the dog to know I'm making the step. I always do it when the dog is in front of me and not really paying attention to me. Okay. So we're gradually getting closer and closer. Now, I will say most times the dog will get all the way through the cycle before I get anywhere near the object. Right? Especially because we know the object isn't going to move or do anything. So most times your dog is going to get all the way to it. And when they do, you're going to notice the shift. The shift will literally be their body starts to relax. Their tail might start to kind of relax. Everything kind of gets a little bit more calm. And then they kind of have this, I did it. And when that happens, we celebrate. Yay, you did it. Look what you did. Good job, buddy. We might touch the thing. I might go up to the thing now and be like, oh my gosh, this isn't scary. You did it. We have a little pet session and then we carry on. Now, what happens if your dog doesn't get there first? You're just stepping towards it. Then if my dog is still really struggling by the time I get to it, then I'm going to act curious about it. I'm going to put my nose up to it. I'm going to look at you. Did I just say I'm going to put my nose up to it? Yes, I did. You're going to look crazy. But you know what? Your dog's worth it. So just smell the thing. Just get down and smell it. Smell the thing. So I'm going to look at it. I might get down and kind of smell it. I will maybe touch it with my hands, that kind of thing. All of this is to elicit this curiosity. But again, I really want the dog to do this on their own. I don't want to do it for them. I don't want to bribe them to it. I don't want to be like, look at it, it's fine. Look at I'm touching it. See, it's good. It's fine. I don't want that. I want to just be like, this is kind of neat, right? I want to look at this like, I'm here to support you. We're partners in this, right? And then I'll wait for the dog to come all the way up. If the dog is really, really struggling, I might just, I've been known to sit beside the thing and just sit there for a while and be like, I'm okay with this. You should be too. It depends on the dog and the fear cycle. Now, the only time, and I will say this, the only time that I will maybe use some voice or some coaxing is if the dog hasn't started the cycle at all, if the dog is stuck. So if that first encounter, the dog gets to the very end of the leash and they're stuck there, then I might turn and kind of ask the dog, you want to come forward? And I do it with my hand. I try not to pull on the leash. Don't pull the dog. We want to ask the dog forward. Do you want to come up and see this? And I might talk to the dog then and be like, you want to come up and see this? Do you want to come and do this? Do you want to, this thing's not scary, whatever. I will maybe try to coax. I still don't use a lot of food, mostly because I don't want to trick the dog. I don't know what it is for me. And again, I know people come at me for this because they're like, why no food? We all are like, food is good. Food is good, but it's so superficial and transactional. And I feel like it's kind of trickery. Like I'm going to toss food towards the scary thing. And I've seen dogs literally run up, snag the food and run back. They didn't get the win. They didn't feel better about that thing. They didn't conquer that thing. They just had enough balls to go up and snag the food really quickly, gobble it down and get the heck out of Dodge. Like that's what they did, right? It's not quite the same. So anyway, I digress. So if they're stuck, I might use a little bit of coaxing there. I might do that, but that's only if they're stuck. Usually once they start though, once they move their feet, they'll usually finish it. They tend not to get too sucked unless something happens. Like let's say the scary decoration falls over or something, then we might be in for a much longer time. Remember, for all of these protocols, we want to take the time it takes so eventually it takes less time. Okay? Please do not start these protocols if you don't have the time to finish them, because then they're stuck in the, oh my God, I didn't die. Or they're stuck in the, oh my God, I'm going to die moment. They never got the I didn't die moment. And the next time they come, they're just going to go through it again. So if you don't have the time, if you're like, I don't have time for this, you may just have to avoid it and go to the other side of the road, do it later, that kind of a thing. But if you're going to take the time, then take the time. Be in it to win it, right? I have been known to be stuck at somebody's driveway for 25 minutes. When I was in Guelph, the one time I was working with the Beagles, and I went for a walk, and I don't know what it was that scared the one dog, but I was sitting at the end on the curb by somebody's driveway for so long that he actually came out and was like, are you okay, ma'am? Should I call somebody for you? And I was like, yeah, I'm just letting my dog process some stuff. And he was like, okay. Like, luckily, Soda wasn't scared of people. He was just having a really hard time. And I just sat there, and I'm like, I'm just going to be there for you. And when he was ready to move, we moved. Right. I think that, one of the greatest gifts, I've said this before, one of the greatest gifts we can give our dogs is the gift of time to process things, time to go through things. And we're such direct line thinkers that we tend to be like, we're goal oriented. Like we just want to get to the end of the thing. But sometimes you got to be flexible and have some fluidity in our journey with our dogs, where we're like, today I've only got a half a block down the road. There was that thing there, startled my dog. We sat there for 40 minutes. He got over it. We came home. And to me, that's a win. That's 100% a win. So there you go. That's my protocol. It's the protocol for inanimate objects. You want to let the dog process the fear, get to the other side, let them have the win, let them approach and retreat. You step forward as the dog gets closer and closer. You be there as a support. And once you see that change, once you see them go, oh my gosh, that thing didn't kill me, then you celebrate. You celebrate those wins. You be a part of that with them. It's a beautiful thing. I hope that helps, Sarah. This, of course, does not include, as I mentioned, protocols for dogs or humans. That's a whole other ball game. And we build those protocols unique to you and your dog. So if you are someone who is sitting there going, I would really like a little extra help when it comes to understanding how I can create protocols to help my dog through the fear cycle, whether it is fear of dogs, fear of people, having people over in your house, whatever it is, please consider joining me over in the Fearful Dog Fearless Framework. Over there, I will be there with you to help you not only understand your dog's fearful mind, but also help you build those protocols unique to you and your dog. That's kind of where this program goes above and beyond. We're meeting every month for Q&A, but you also have the ability to reach out to me at any time to help you with your protocols, help you actually break down what's best for you and your dog. You can get that over at the Fearful Dog Fearless Framework. That's at beyondobedience.ca/fearless, beyondobedience.ca/fearless. And I can't wait to walk this journey with you. All right, friend, if you enjoyed this episode, can you do me a favor and give me a 5-star rating? If you're over in Apple, a written review would just do wonders for me and this podcast. If you're on Spotify, leave me a comment. Let me know. Make sure you're over in that Facebook group. We're going to be talking more about this over there as well. And as always, get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you are amazing. And so do I. Have a great couple of days, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Really struggling with your dog, please be sure to reach out to a professional in your area for help. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.